Disclaimer: this guide is mainly targeted at dire difficulty, but the boss mechanics are the same for Fearless, and you can adjust team requirements accordingly. The labeled cost requirement is assuming you have very well built characters and know the optimal combos. If you feel like you cannot do the perfect rotations, you can add 1 or 2 more cost to make the clear much easier. The difficulty in this Stygian is the damage required for the newest boss and the returning Knuckle Duckle. They have also removed the ability to cheese the Operative with fall damage and added 3 million HP. Out of the 3 bosses, the Wind Operative is still much easier than the other 2 bosses even with the buffing HP, so you should plan your teams accordingly. Starting with the newest boss, the Chimeric Wind Lion. The mechanics are not too complex, but it has a lot of HP, 23 million for Dire. Difficulty wise, it should be around the level of the Moon Gecko, but not quite as hard as the Knuckle Duckle. At the start of the battle, it will open a 40U Electro Shield. This is a normal elemental shield, so you have to break it using either Pyro, Cryo, or Dendro. If you hit it with stellar damage during the shield break, the shield will lose 16U, making the shield break easier for stellar teams. After breaking the shield, it will refund 100% of stellar damage and 30% of other damage and become vulnerable for around 15 seconds. While vulnerable, it will have minus 120% cryo and animal res and minus 60% other elemental res. After it recovers, it will start doing attacks and summon 5 animal balls around the field, similar to the new Lyra boss and Weenut, where you have to hit them with one of Pyro, Hydro, Electro, or Cryo to break it. After breaking all 5 balls, the boss will be down again for 15 seconds, and if you're doing stellar damage to the boss, it will completely skip this phase and instantly be downed after doing its attacks. After the boss recovers this time, it will reopen the Electro Shield and repeat the mechanics. This boss is similar to bosses like the Baptiste, where you need to focus all your damage within the 15-second damage window to take advantage of the negative resistance. So you should plan your shield break timing around your rotation to maximize the damage window. To break the 40U Electro Shield, you just need to spam Cryo, Pyro, or Dendro application. Most teams already have a way to do this, but if your team doesn't, Cryo MC is a great shield break option as they can do stellar damage, making the shield 16 unit less. For the animal balls mechanics, ideally you want to have some AoE application that can hit the balls without having to chase after them like Set Lolly, but you can manage without having one. Now onto teams. I've limited the team recommendations to non-C6 5-stars. The easiest clear is with Sandrone's full team at C0R0 being able to clear. C6 Alosha can be used as either a 4-slot or Yai replacement, but with a DPS loss, and without his C6, the gap will be much larger. The other stellar carries can also work at around C2, and even Cryo MC should be able to clear if you have C2 Odette. Skirk should also have a very favorable matchup with the minus 120% Cryo res, and it might be worth bringing Cryo MC over Mona for the faster shield break, but some actual testing would be needed. Out of the 3 lunar teams, Nefer should have the easiest time as Dendro can break the Electro Shield, whereas the other 2 teams need to bring a shield break option, likely Cryo MC. Most of the other teams can work without much changes like Natlan or Hexerai teams, as they have a way of breaking the shield, so while this boss does have a lot of HP, the team building is less restrictive than some previous bosses. Now onto the second boss, the Knuckle Duckle. This boss needs no introduction. By most measures, this is the hardest Stygian boss so far, with it requiring good AoE and high single target DPS. A brief reminder of its mechanics: it will summon 5 ducks at the start of the battle, and you must kill all 5 before the boss becomes targetable. You can either kill them using raw damage, or trigger Lunar or Electro Charge 15 times. The only easy clear is with Lunar Charge, with the lowest possible being 3 cost, with the full team at C0R0, but ideally you want at least 4 cost. Every other team will require at least 5 to 8 cost, and the clears are very difficult due to getting good AoE on the ducks being very RNG. You can check Stygian.moe for previous clears, and here are the lowest cost clears for the most common teams. Do note that if you are trying to copy them, you will likely need 1 or 2 more cost as these clears are quite difficult. On the right side are the teams that weren't yet released during the boss's last appearance in 6.4, which is mainly just Varka and the different stellar teams. Finally, the last boss is an old boss but slightly different. The Wind Operative is basically the same as the Frost Operative from 6.1 Stygian, but with 3 million extra HP and higher interruption resistance. meaning you will no longer be able to full damage Cheez-It. This is the first time they've returned an old boss and added more HP, but even with the added HP, it is still the easiest boss out of the 3 with only 17 million, whereas the other bosses have over 23 million HP. Some tips for the boss is that you cannot vape or melt on the damage shield, meaning Overload and Mono Pyro is generally easier than vape or melt on this boss. And one annoying thing is that the boss moves around quite a bit, so it's very easy to miss your attacks. But one nice thing about them changing the operative from frost to wind is that it no longer applies cryo to you, making clears a bit more consistent. For teams, you can use the clear from the frost operatives as an example, but it might be a bit harder with the 3 million extra HP. C0R0 Arlecchino and Movica was able to clear this boss last time with C6 Overload teammates, but if you don't have the Overload 4 stars at C6, you will need more investment elsewhere. Since the boss last appeared in 6.1, most of the teams have gotten upgrades, making the clear much easier, especially for Lunar and Hexrite teams, with all Lunar teams clearing at C0R0 and the Natlan DPS clearing around C2R1 with the help of Durin and Nicole. Skirk will also have a much easier time since they changed the element of the boss, and Stellar team can also clear pretty easily. That's it for the 3 bosses. Here are some example team options with no overlapping teammates. The hardest part about this Stygian is whether you have a team that can do the Knuckle Duckle. Something you can try is to split your Sandrone and Odette into 2 teams with Sandrone plus Yai for the winged line, and Odette plus the other carry for the winged operative, but this would require your Sandrone team to have more investment as clearing the winged line without Odette will be a challenge. Let me know if I missed anything and feel free to discuss in the comments, and good luck with your clears.